Welcome back, everyone. And we got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time and get straight to the start. Or so for the CFL. The Grey Cup is now officially set in stone on as the top teams in their respective divisions will face off against each other. We're with the Toronto Argonauts going up against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who are looking to win their third consecutive title. Well, it will take place at 6 p.m. November 20th. Moving on to the NHL, I couldn't find any news, but I can tell you that the current top three in the Metropolitan Division are the Devils, the Islanders, and the Hurricanes. Top three in the Atlantic are currently the Bruins, Maple Leafs, and Lightning. Top three in the West are currently the Jets, the Stars, and the Avalanche. And the top three in the Pacific are the Golden Knights, the Kings, and the Kraken. In terms of NBA, currently leading the Atlantic Division are the Celtics, leading the Central are the Bucks, leading the Southeast are the Hawks, South not Southwest, the Northwest is led by the Trailblazers, Pacific is led by the Suns, and Southwest is led by the Grizzlies. We finally got some college news as our first ever championship game has been set in stone. For the first time in what seems to be an age, the Tar Heels will make conference championship game. And they will be playing against Clemson Tigers for the ACC crown. In terms of where they stand, Clemson is 9-1, and so are the Tar Heels at 9-1. They end up clinching their divisions with a win. UNC has won 6 straight games under a redshirt freshman quarterback. Over here in the AAC, it's a three-way tie between UCF, Tulane, and Cincinnati for who's going to be the overall winner. So then let's move on to the Big 12, where TCU is leading at an undefeated 10-0 record. They have a shot of making the playoffs, believe it or not. In the Big 10, it is once again going to come down to either Ohio State or Michigan when they eventually play against each other for the East, whereas the West is a two-way tie between Minnesota and Illinois. Where Conference USA sees UTSA leading at 8-2. In the Independents, Liberty is winning 8-2, although they're not a real division. But they're there for those who want to stay independent. In the MAC, Ohio is leading 7-3. Toledo is leading 7-3. In the Mountain West, two-way tie between Boise State and Wyoming, each at 7-3. Fresno State is mainly at 6-4, but ahead because they've won 5 conference games. As those are how tiebreakers are determined in the conference. Well, conference wins matter more than overall. That's why San Jose State, despite leading by half a game, is second in their division. In the Pac-12, Southern California leads at 9-1. In the SEC, Georgia is 10-0. Oh, they're on pace to win the SEC East, whereas it's going to be between LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss is on who is going to take the West. In the Sun Belt, Coastal Carolina is 9-1. On South Alabama is 8-2. And now I want to go over potential candidates to replace Frank Reich since I never got a chance to talk about it. So currently listed, our options are Cardinals defensive coordinator Vance Joseph. He spent 2 years with Denver before getting fired. Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, or Eagles offensive coordinator Dane Stein, no, Shane Steichen, and Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. He has been a head coach in the past, and those are the main four right now. They're not either Jim Harbaugh's or Sean Payton's right now. They're mainly after who they see are the best. And now let's move on to, to the Week 11 predictions. Since the Chiefs are still leading their division, and for the first time since Week 3, the Dolphins lead the AFC East. And so far, it seems like everyone from the AFC East will make it in. Titans are sole leaders of the AFC South. Ravens are 6-3 of the AFC North. In the East, Eagles, regardless of whether or not they win, are still going to maintain leaders for another week. I think the Seahawks are starting to lose their grip in the West as the Vikings have firm control of their own destiny in the North. The Buccaneers maintain their lead in the South with a 500 record going into their bye week. The Seahawks, Jaguars, and Dolphins are also on bye. So, with that out of the way, we're going to start with our Thursday night football match between the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. It looks like the Packers are starting to get something clicking, and whereas the Titans are slowly starting to come to terms with reality. And that has a lot of stuff going on that front. Packers look good. Titans, eh, they're still a little iffy, if I say so myself. Oh, and what I mean is that they barely got out a win against Denver. And ultimately, with how much of a bounce back the Packers are getting since that at Lambeau on a short week, I'll take the Packers. Moving on to the 1 o'clock games, starting with Bears versus Falcons. These are two teams that could potentially be, be a tank bowl. However, the Falcons actually have a chance to start bouncing back for the division this late in the season. And despite everything that's been going on which sadly the division is going to maintain in the hands of the Buccaneers due to them having a 500 record, especially during the bye week. Yeah, they can get some sleep like that. And so I think that in this scenario, I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons. So we got Browns versus Bills next, and really that's no contest. As Browns still need to to stay above 500. They're not going to be able to at this point of the season, and The suspension's almost over, or this is the final. I believe this is the final game they can play before they go on a bye. Let me see if I'm actually no. They've already had their bye week. They're gonna have a tougher time. They're gonna have a tougher time getting as close to 500 as possible. Well, they are gonna have a losing record guaranteed, but I don't think they'll be able to secure 2 straight wins and against the Bills and Buccaneers. They're gonna lose at least one, and it might as well be the Bills. Panthers versus Ravens. Last time these two teams met eh, was back in 2018. The Panthers won that game, but things have changed since then. Panthers are in free fall mode right now. Yes, they got the extended rest, but the Ravens had an even bigger rest coming off a bye week, and I think they're going to win this game due to being a better rested team. Next is the Lions versus the Giants. The Lions have won 2 straight games, please believe it or not, and, well, they just aren't as cut and dry, for them. They're a long ways out from trying to make a playoff spot, and late season comeback would be too little too late as the Giants end up winning this game. Jets versus Patriots is up next. Both teams are coming off a bye week. However, there is one opponent that the Jets can never overcome, and it's going to be the Patriots getting the sweep. The Commanders versus Texans. This one is going to be a little bit rough. And based on current trajectories, I'm gonna have to go with Washington, and they're close to getting back to 500 now. Now then they gotta follow it up with Rams versus Saints. These two teams have not played well this year. Rams are suffering from a Super Bowl hangover, and the Saints suffering from not having Sean Payton to coach them. Um, it's gonna be hard for either team to actually win in a matchup like this, which is why I'm gonna make this game my tie of the week. Yes, one of these two teams will probably win, but at the same time, it's just hard to say with confidence is which one is going to win. There's questions surrounding Matthew Stafford and whether or not he'll be back. Heck, at least he managed to win a ring before he has to go out on a sunlight. Right? In the States are looking to find a quarterback to replace Drew Brees sometime in the future. Or I'm thinking that's what Dennis Allen's wanting to do. But for now, I'll just make this my tie of the week. Next is the Eagles versus Colts to wrap up the 1 o'clock games. I think the Eagles will get the win over the Colts simply due to the fact that they're the better team. Colts still have a way out of the ballpark head coach right now. Now they're not facing a Raider squad anymore. They're facing legitimate contenders. Going into the late games, we got the Raiders versus the Broncos. Those- Given that this is a division rivalry, this is probably going to be close. Those- And ultimately, I'm going to give this one to Denver, or due to the fact that they don't have Josh McDaniels on the team. And that guy needs to be fired. Both of them need to be fired. Or they both suck. Next is the Bengals versus the Steelers. There's logic dictates that the Bengals are going to win this game coming off the bye. But I'm instead going to go for the upset here. I'm taking the Steelers. Er, so, TJ Watt is back. He's going to play a role. Not to mention, just because the Bengals are starting to click now doesn't mean that they can continue to ride the momentum forever. They're 0-3 against their division, and then now they're heading into the second half, where they gotta try to bounce back. And not being able to win against teams in your division could potentially cost you a playoff spot at this point. Then again, the Bills have done well despite that. So who am I to say? Cowboys versus the Vikings. Despite how well Minnesota has rebounded under Kevin O'Connell, well, the magic has to eventually run out, and I think it'll run out against Dallas. This will be a legitimate matchup. The majority of the country will end up with this game, and because of course they will. But the fact remains that the Cowboys have to beat the Vikings because the Vikings have to lose their second game of the season at some point. I mean, Sunday Night Football is Chiefs versus Chargers. I think Kansas City is going to get the season sweep here. Or while the Chargers have been trying to do good as of late, I don't think it'll be enough to overcome the Chiefs squad at home. So I'm not looking forward to seeing just how things are gonna go. Plus, Chargers are still somewhat injury prone. Despite the questions regarding Juju and his concussion, I think the Chiefs will be just fine because they still got various other weapons to work with. If so, I think the Chiefs will be fine. Even if they lose, it's just going to be a minor setback. Monday Night Football, we have our Mexico City game for the season between the 49ers and the Cardinals. Well, one of these teams are going to win, and the road team has already won the majority of the games in the international series this year. So this is mainly just going to be for like a playoff spot on the line or something like that. And given the current circumstances of this matchup, I'm going to go with the 49ers as they take the lead of the NFC West over the Arizona Cardinals. Well, Cliff Kingsbury still should not have a head coaching job. Uh, there's questions around Kyler Murray. They've been 49ers have been able to utilize Christian McCaffrey in ways that he's never been. used these past few seasons in Carolina, and that's gonna help them get over the hump. Jimmy G doesn't have to worry about padding stats. He just has to worry about winning games. And that is going to be where things go for week 11. Those are my predictions. I'm sure you got your own. Jaguars still suck because I hate them. They are always going to suck. There's still a chance the Packers can actually bounce back, believe it or not. But they will no longer be the team with the number one seed. It will be somebody else who gets it this season, as there will be some variety in that spot out there. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'm hoping to come across more news, and it's going to be a little bit longer until I decide to do a video based on election results, both for the midterms, but it will come. I just need to wait for a few things to play out in the House and in the Georgia runoff. So it's not going to be till at least east after December 6th before final results come in. But it will come as the Democrats regain, or at least he manages to maintain control of the Senate, which means even if the House does go the way of the Republicans, it's just going to be a neutral year. You're defying expectations. I'm sure half of you are mad, half of you are happy. That's just how things go. I'm not here to satisfy everyone. I'm just here to make content. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.